Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from SegaCityUniverse.com and GravesideEntertainment.com, and I watched this great YouTuber named Adam Koralik. It's K-O-R-A-L-I-K, I believe. He's a big Sega Dreamcast fan, and I love the Dreamcast, and I'm in the process of buying everything back that I sold years ago. It's about 10 years ago, I think now, that I sold everything, which I regret deeply. So I'm buying it back, all my games and stuff, and this guy collects, excuse me, coffee grinds in my mouth. This guy collects everything. He has GD-ROM disc writers, he has weird promotional software. I mean, he is a wealth of knowledge on the Dreamcast. He's part of the niche community that's still going on. Very nice guy, quick to respond to me. So please check out Adam Koralik's channel, but that's not what this is about. He did a great video about his 5 top consoles that he enjoys the most. So I'm going to put add-ons as consoles, even though essentially they're add-ons, even though they're called add-on consoles, I'm going to say they're in there too. So my top 5, in, I would say no particular order. I really can't say, oh man, I mean, maybe a little bit, but I'd rather not even do that. So I'm going to just say the top 5 I really love. My first is the Sega CD. Obviously by my name, you can tell I love the Sega CD. I loved FMV, I still do. When I play a game, I feel like it can scare me if it's an FMV game that's horror. That's more so on the PC though, but in terms of horror. But the FMV games really get me into them. They make me feel like I'm there. I like being able to control the stuff that, you know, through these actors, even though the interaction is sort of limited. So the Sega CD is up there for me. It was unique, it was different, it failed, but it was very different. It had a lot of cool games. Snatcher, Double Switch, Night Trap, Lunar, Vey, Shining Force CD, and the list goes on. So the Sega CD is like my favorite, obviously by my name. Secondly, I'm going to say the Sega Dreamcast. Even though I sold it and I'm in the process of getting it back now and getting all my collection back, I loved it. I mean, I was so enamored by it. It was like not the first online console, because I think that goes to the Saturn, if I'm correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think they had a, well, let me go back a step. The X-Band was a modem that was third-party that you can buy for the Super Nintendo and the Genesis that was online through the phones, but Saturn had its own peripheral that you could play. So really, it's the first party was the Saturn, but first built in, I believe, was the Dreamcast with the 56K modem and then the broadband adapter, which is extremely rare. The games are amazing, lots of great fighters, lots of great RPGs. Very sad that that's the system that they died out on. I really thought it was going to do well. Shenmue's amazing. They had some great first-party titles and unique games that came to the system. If you haven't played Dreamcast, get one. It is cheap. It is great. It has a great community still. They're still making games for it. There's still guys in other countries that are developing games and selling them online. And Pure Solar, the Genesis title that company Watermelon made, it's a 16-bit RPG. They're HD re-releasing that on the Dreamcast now, as well as on Xbox Live and PSN. But I mean, Dreamcast is just fucking awesome. I mean, it's awesome. So I can tell I'm a Sega guy. My third is going to be the Panasonic 3DO, or it's not Panasonic, it's really 3DO. Panasonic is just the person who made that particular console, because they licensed it out to whoever wanted to make the consoles for them. The 3DO is great. It's a mix of really cool graphics for the time, interesting ideas, and a lot of cool FMV titles like the Sega CD. Underrated in my opinion, very expensive at that point in time. So I would say the 3DO just has really cool stuff. It's niche games. It's more like the Sega CD, but it's more powerful. And it had some interesting ideas and multimedia stuff as well, but that didn't do too well, kind of like with the CDI with the multimedia. It was just very expensive and it failed, and Trip Hawkins had some cool ideas, but it didn't, in the end, it didn't end well. So I love the 3DO. I still have it hooked up to my 55-inch HD TV today. It's a great console for old school gamers who like that kind of stuff, especially FMV, as I said numerous times now, because I repeat myself like an idiot. Was that 4 or 5? Was that 3 or 4, I mean? Sega CD, 3DO, that was 3. The next is going to be Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo had an awesome amount of great RPGs. I wasn't a huge fan of every other game, but it had great RPGs. It had, Final Fantasy 3/6, Chrono Trigger, oh my god, Earthbound. It's just, those games right there, they're amazing. So many great RPGs. The Super Nintendo is where the Nintendo kind of dropped off for me, though. After the Super Nintendo, I just couldn't get into the GameCube very much. The N64 didn't really do it for me, and it kind of soured me. Excuse me. It kind of soured me because of them not doing Earthbound 64 or Earthbound 64 DD with the disk drive. So, Super Nintendo was great. I know people are going to say, like, what about the Genesis? The Genesis had some great RPGs and games too, but there was more Super Nintendo titles that stood out to me at the time in terms of RPGs and games I really got into. And the PlayStation's great too, with some great RPGs like Suikoden, and they re-released a lot of, Lunar games and Chrono Trigger and all that stuff. But the Super Nintendo had a really good base of RPGs, so the Super Nintendo is going to be number 4 for me. And number 5, I'm probably going to go out to the original Xbox. And the reason I say that is, when I had a GameCube and I think a PS2 and whatever else was out at that point, the Xbox got so much playtime for me. And not because I felt the games were leaps and bounds better, even though some of them were, they were very good games. The online component they added to the Xbox was like the Dreamcast being online, but this took it to the next level. Not to quote Sega there, taking it to the next level, but the online games were so much fun. My friends and I would meet online and just play every night and talk with the headset, and it was just so revolutionary for me to play online all the time with my friends and not have to drive to their house and sit on their couch, or if you're tired or you don't feel well. It was just so much fun. I have so many good memories of playing online with my friends. Link's Golf, which I hate golf, but the game was so much fun and relaxing. Tetris, and I'm not a big Tetris fan, it was so much fun. Rainbow Six, Halo 1 and 2, even though I'm not a huge Halo fan. There was just so many fun games on the original Xbox that were online. Spike Out, what was it? Not Battle Arena, what was it called? Spike Out, Battle Street. It was like a Final Fight type game online. That was so much fun. So many great online games for the original Xbox, and I think it really did well with its online niche, where Nintendo kind of didn't want to do it, and Sony kind of came late to it, and you were able to use third-party peripherals to play the Sony online, and then they eventually came out with their own modem, their own broadband adapter. But Xbox really punched hard with their online gaming, and it still does, but Sony's caught up to a degree, especially with it being free. So those are my 5. The Sega CD, no particular order, I love them all, but Sega CD and 3DO are up there, and Dreamcast. Those are my top main core 3, I would say. The other 2 I like a lot, but so Sega CD, 3DO, Dreamcast, Super Nintendo, and the original Xbox. Those are my 5 favorite. I would love to hear what your 5 favorite are. Please leave a video response, leave a text response. I just love interacting with you guys. I'm having a lot of fun making these videos. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Adam Koralik, for doing this in a video and giving me the idea. And that's about it. So thanks, guys. Take care. And it's Vampire Mike from SegaCDUniverse.com and GravesideEntertainment.com signing out. Be good.